they have a long series of tests that they're going to have to do. So this is not like the resumption. They've actually never stopped. So they're going to have to do another series, probably 3 or 4 additional series of tests where they do a test and then they have 2 or 3 months in between where they have to examine the telemetry data, etc., to find out what they need to do to make their missile program reliable so that if they need to use it, they can. So this is just a continuation, and it shouldn't be surprised at all. I don't think that the intent is to antagonize anything. I think they have an absolute terror of a U.S. attack, and so I think that they feel like they have to accelerate their testing as fast as possible so that they have a weapon system that they feel will deter us, so that we won't take any preemptive action. Certainly, nuclear-free peninsula is a goal that we should have, but that's going to take a long time. But right now, what we have to do immediately to keep the United States safe is to use deterrence, just like we did against China, just like we did against the USSR back during the Cold War, because the Kim Jong-un regime is not suicidal. They don't have a suicide wish. They want to live, and so that's why they have this deterrent. Is because they think that's the only thing that can keep them safe from U.S. Intervention or attack, as we've done elsewhere. What we need to do is not inflame the situation, recognize what they're doing, but very clearly communicate that we will attack them and destroy them if they launch an attack. But if they don't launch an attack, then they don't have any reason to fear, because the thing that we have to avoid at all costs is prompting the very attack that we're trying to prevent. Because this so-called preventive attack is nothing of the kind. Actually, that would probably start a war, not prevent one. It's got to be a global effort. And what we need to do is we need to elevate diplomacy at the forefront. And we definitely need to work with China, with Russia, with Japan, with South Korea. And we have to work with all the nations that have a stake in it, because even recent statements by the ASEAN are very unequivocal in saying that they don't want a nuclear-armed North Korea. So they all want to work against it. So let's use diplomatic means to come to a consensus that we can, but all the while showing that we will deter North Korea from using any of their weapons. We haven't had a real good track record of making an agreement and then sticking with it, and so it's going to be really hard, and it's going to take a long time to convince them, because you got to understand, for them to get rid of this nuclear weapon, to negotiate, as some call it, would be giving away the only thing that they have indigenous to prevent an attack. And so it's going to take a lot of diplomacy, but the first thing we have to do is not inflame the situation further. It is crucial that we lower the temperature on the threats and the rhetoric and recognize what North Korea is doing, but we have to prevent war. We cannot start war. We cannot use preventive war to think we're going to take out the regime, because it won't. Millions of lives could be at stake here, both in South Korea, U.S. personnel, and possibly even in the mainland if we prompted them into using an ICBM to the U.S. So we have to not inflame the situation, because we have to prevent war. The costs are too high.